Okay, it's 10 o'clock. That clock up there, just for your information, is 5 minutes fast. We have Verizon time, which is 10 o'clock. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. Would you please stand for the flags?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Public notice, Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, Commissioners. Adequate public notice has been given pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice have been posted at the Board's office and website, and emailed to the Department of State and to newspapers of broad circulation within the state.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Holden.
Here.
Commissioner Solomon.
Here.
Commissioner Gordon.
Here.
Commissioner Christodoulou.
Here.
President Fertiliso.
Here. And our next meeting, Carmen?
The next regular board meeting will be on Friday, February 17, 2023 at 10 a.m. It will be a hybrid meeting in person at the board hearing room at 44 South Clinton Avenue in Trenton and live streamed via YouTube.
Thank you. Before I go any further, I just wanted to welcome everyone here. I think this is the first time since our new boardroom that we have a full house, or it looks like a full house. And I want to welcome those who are watching us via live stream. And we will continue with our meeting, and hopefully we won't keep you too long. We are going to have an executive session. The board will be addressing the following items in executive session under clean energy. Item A and B and C. And we will be taking action on these items during regular session. So if I could have a motion to go into executive session, please.
Mr. President.
I'm sorry. I always forget you.
Deputy Attorney General McNamara.
I know who you are. I always forget to go to you, though.
Clean energy items AA, B, and C fall within the contract negotiation and attorney-client privilege exceptions to the Open Public Meetings Act. These exceptions are found in New Jersey Statutes 10:4-12B7.
Thank you. Now may I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We will see you 25 minutes probably, okay? Okay, we're back in regular session. Thank you for your patience. I have a few opening remarks before we get to the agenda. I'm glad, first of all, the weather held up. It's supposed to be mostly rain in most of the state. Those of you who live in Sussex County may have a little snow, but other than that, things look pretty good. I'm happy to say also that the board is hiring. As a matter of fact, on Monday, and correct me if I'm wrong, we will be welcoming 10 new hires on Monday, all across the board, in almost every division. And that is remarkable, because all I keep hearing is that other departments are having difficulty hiring. Now, it hasn't been easy. We walk up and down the streets collaring people. But you do what you gotta do. So, we have a important job to do here at the BPU, as you all well know. And we need the personnel to complete that job. Because I don't want any of you who have been working overtime to get burned out. We need the hands, we need the brains, we need the grease to get it done. And so our crusade of hiring people continues. And there will be more after Monday. The BGS auction will begin February 3rd. The BGS auction, as you are well aware, sets our electricity rates for customers that do not use a third-party supplier. The board will hold a special meeting to consider the results of the auction and will send out a confirmation of when the meeting will take place, which is determined by when the auction concludes. Last year, it concluded very early. So we had a special board meeting, I think, on that Wednesday. And generally, it's that Wednesday or Thursday. But that was particularly early. I also want to extend a happy Lunar New Year to all who celebrate. And we wish you an auspicious and prosperous year of the Water Rabbit. Enjoy the celebration. And I think we also have to recognize that part of that celebration was interrupted in California. Not only with one mass shooting, but with 2 mass shootings. Something has to be done. We cannot, as a society, continue to live in this kind of environment. 99.9% of our citizens are good people and don't deserve to go to celebrations and be fearful for their lives. That's not what America is about. So let's hope that as we continue this year, we do something about this. We do something about assault weapons. Do any of my colleagues have any opening remarks? Yes.
You took my line, but I'll say it this way. Konghei Fat Tsai and Laisi Doi to our Chinese friends. That's Happy New Year and give me the lucky money.
Give me the lucky money. Yes.
Yeah.
on that subject matter and, the horrific crime wave that we have going through this country, a subject that's very dear to my heart is also the mental health issues. I mean, this country has never really addressed those issues, and regardless of whether it's a gun, a knife, someone hitting someone over the head by entering their home, I'd say the majority of these cases end up going back to individuals with mental health issues, and until we start addressing that particular issue, I think you're going to continue to see, problems on our streets. Majority of the homeless that are out there have mental health issues. I happen to have a brother, in that space, so I can assure you, it's heart-wrenching for the families. And to the extent you have the opportunity to make a difference in that space in 2023, I would urge you to do so.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay. No items under audits for consideration. That brings us to energy.
President,
Consent. Not yet.
consent.
I was just checking to make sure you were here. How about the consent agenda?
On consent agenda items 2A, 4A, 5A, and 5B.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Krista DeLu,
Yes.
President Fertiliso.
Yes. Now, next time, Yes. Now we can get to energy. And who's presenting? For item 2A. Hey, Maliki, how are you, sir?
Fine, thank you, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. And this has to do with E-Town gas.
Yes, sir. For agenda item 2A. On July 29, 2022, Elizabeth Town Gas Company filed a petition seeking approval to increase the company's manufactured gas plant remediation adjustment clause to recover net costs incurred during the 2022 RAP period from July 1, 2021 through June 30th, 2022. Following a review of the petition and discovery, the parties have executed a stipulation requesting the board approve the revised SBC RAP rate. As a result of the stipulation, a typical residential heating customer using 100 therms per month will experience an increase in their monthly bill of $1.06. Staff recommends the board issue an order adopting the stipulation and directing Elizabeth Town Gas to file revised tariffs by February 1, 2023.
So moved. Second.
Any questions? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Krista DeLu,
Yes.
President Fertiliso.
Yes. 2B has to do with public service, electric and gas. Oops.
On June 30th, 2022, Public Service Electric and Gas Company filed a petition seeking approval of changes to its electric solar pilot recovery charge for its solar loan 1 program. During the course of the proceeding, PSE&G updated its submissions with actuals through September 2022. The parties have executed a stipulation requesting the board approve the SPRC rate. As a result, a typical residential electric customer using 740 kWh in the summer month and 6,920 kWh annually would experience an increase in their annual bill of 4 cents. Staff recommends the board issue an order adopting the stipulation and directing PSE&G to file revised tariffs by February 1, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? Comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou,
Yes.
President Ferlisa.
Yes, thank you, Maliki. All right, that brings us to energy item 2C. Michael?
Good morning, Mr. President and Commissioners.
Good morning.
On October 22nd, 2022, Rockland Electric Company filed a petition requesting approval to update the company's zero emission certificate reconciliation charge. The company's proposal would result in a 13 cents increase for the typical residential customer using 650 kilowatt hours per month. The Division of Rate Counsel submitted comments stating that it does not object to the company's proposal. Staff recommends that the board accept the company's proposal and direct Rockland to file revised tariffs prior to February 1st, 2023, for rates effective February 1st, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments for Michael? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou,
Yes.
President Ferlisa.
Yes. Thank you.
Loosen the floor.
2D, Ace.
2D8, yes. On October 19th, 2022, Atlantic City Electric Company filed a petition seeking approval for a change to its zero emission certificate recovery charge. The company's proposal would result in a 5 cents increase for the typical residential customer using 650 kilowatt hours per month. The Division of Rate Counsel submitted comments stating that it does not object to the company's proposal. Staff recommends that the board accept the company's proposal and direct ACE to file revised tariffs prior to February 1st, 2023, for rates effective February 1st, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou,
Yes.
President Ferlisa.
Yes. 2E, public service, Michael?
On October 14th, 2022, Public Service Electric and Gas Company filed a petition seeking approval for a change to its zero emission certificate recovery charge. The company's proposal would result in a 6 cents increase for the typical residential customer using 650 kilowatt hours per month. The Division of Rate Counsel submitted comments stating that it does not object to the company's proposal, and staff recommends that the board accept the company's proposal and direct Public Service to file revised tariffs prior to February 1st, 2023, for rates effective February 1st, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou,
Yes.
President Ferlisa.
Yes. Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome.
Ben, you're up for 2E. F.
Good morning, Mr. President and Commissioners.
Morning, Ben.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Item 2F is the joint petition of South Jersey Industries, the parent company of South Jersey Gas and Elizabethtown Gas, and IIF US Holdings II, a private equity fund focused on infrastructure investment and managed by JP Morgan Chase. The joint petitioners are seeking approval of a change of control whereby IIF will acquire full control and ownership of SJI. This is a large and complex merger, and I want to acknowledge the diligence of board staff over the last many months for their careful analysis and review of this matter. In particular, the Energy Division, Counsel's Office, the Division of Audits, and the Office of the Economist. along with help from the Division of Customer Assistance and the Reliability and Security Division as well. So I'll provide a brief background and then some highlights of the stipulation itself. Elizabethtown Gas serves approximately 306,000 customers in all or portions of Hunterdon, Mercer, Middlesex, Morris, Sussex, Union, and Warren counties. South Jersey Gas serves approximately 413,000 customers in all or portions of Atlantic, Burlington, Camden, Cape May, Cumberland, Gloucester, and Salem counties. IIF is a private equity fund with a net asset value of approximately $20 billion, the majority of which is invested in critical infrastructure across the United States, including gas, electric, and water utilities in at least 5 other states. On June 8th of last year, the board retained the matter and designated Commissioner Mary Anna Holden as presiding commissioner. On August 17th, Commissioner Holden issued a pre-hearing order and procedural schedule. 2 virtual public hearings were held on September 29th, 2022, and discovery and settlement conferences continued throughout the fall, and the parties executed a stipulation on January 6, 2023. Other parties signing on to the stipulation include the New Jersey Division of Rate Counsel, the New Jersey Large Energy Users Coalition, and the Environmental Defense Fund. Board staff recommends approval of the transaction under the terms reflected in the stipulation and board order. Staff believe that the stipulation and order address all applicable statutes and regulations and protect customers and employees while maintaining current rates, capital investment, staffing, and service levels. Some of the key provisions included in the stipulation are as follows. This transaction will not impact rates or service for existing customers of Elizabethtown Gas and South Jersey Gas, as the joint petitioners have agreed to a rate case stay-out period for 2 years from the effective date of their last rate case last year. For a period of 5 years, the joint petitioners agreed to maintain the local management structure and not implement any involuntary workforce reductions or decreases to wages, benefits, and other terms and conditions of employment in effect at the time of the merger closing, with only very narrow and limited exceptions. Joint petitioners will provide a positive benefit to customers in the form of $75 million in rate relief. This rate relief will include a write-off of the total COVID-19 deferrals of approximately $14 million. The remainder of the $75 million will be shared among all customers in the form of 2 annual bill credits. The first within 3 months of the merger closing, and the second bill credit 1 year later. The amount of each annual bill credit is estimated to be approximately $40 per customer, or a total of $80 per customer over the 2 installments. The joint petitioners committed to expand their shareholder-funded relief for low-income customers by contributing $500,000 annually to NJ shares for at least 5 years. And the petitioners commit that Elizabethtown Gas and South Jersey Gas will each provide additional contributions to support community programs and projects of at least $500,000 per year for 5 years also. Regarding continuing service, the joint petitioners agreed to maintain their existing call centers and their field service centers in New Jersey, unless previously approved by the board for closure in a prior docket, and that will remain in effect for at least 3 years. And they have also committed to improve their customer service response times. In addition, the joint petitioners commit to maintain their headquarters in New Jersey. Any increase in the cost of debt resulting explicitly from the change in control through provisions in the debt instruments that allow current debt holders to put their debt back to the company will be tracked and credited back to customers as a rate credit in a subsequent rate case. Thus, holding customers harmless if there is an increase in the cost of debt, specifically as a result of this merger. The joint petitioners have committed to continue to provide financial reporting for South Jersey Gas and Elizabethtown Gas to the board with the same frequency and in the same comprehensive manner as under their current SEC requirements. Additionally, the stipulation provides various ring fencing commitments, such as no pledging of assets, no dividends issued if the utility credit rating falls below investment grade, and no transaction-related debt at the utility level. The petitioners also commit to tracking and reporting to the parties on the cost and extent of main and service line extensions, and also to provide a report on the occurrences of gas leaks and the scheduled and completed replacement of older cast iron facilities. These commitments and others in the stipulation should provide confidence that the terms of this merger, as agreed, are protective of the service and rates provided to customers of New Jersey, the financial integrity of the two utilities, and the employees who work there. As I stated earlier, staff recommend that the board approve the stipulation of settlement and the proposed transaction. Thank you.
I'll move it.
Second.
Before I pass it over to the presiding officer, there are just a couple of things I would like to say. It's important to note that this merger is essentially a move from one type of investor to another. A move from individual shareholders to larger investors acting through a private equity fund. In all the years that I've been here, and Mike Cameron will correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first time a private equity fund has bought or merged with one of our utilities. So I know that, and Ben laid it out very clearly, the protections that we were after, and Commissioner Holden helped to guide that to ensure the fact that the employees are protected, to ensure the fact that the ratepayer is protected. And we will be keeping a very close eye on this entire operation to ensure the fact that it works. So it's a new adventure for the BPU insofar as mergers are concerned. And so we will be casting a very critical eye on exactly what goes on. Mariana?
Yeah, I want to underscore what Ben has said. This was an all hands on deck. Every department here has just about, except for maybe telco, was touched in this, coming to this conclusion. And while there are other U.S. energy and water utilities with private ownership, there are not many, and almost none with as many customers as SJIU and IIF has agreed to purchase SJI as an all-cash deal. This is an incredible day for the board, and as you say, one that is one we're going to obviously keep an eye on. But I see that there are others that will be coming down the road too. This is a trend that's nationally, but I think our staff, once again, has led the way nationally and done a great job. Secure things in the stipulation that hold the customers harmless, provide benefit to the customers, and obviously to E-Town and to SJI. So thank you for your work.
And thank you, Commissioner, for all your work in getting this through. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. I and I believe most of all of my colleagues like to talk about how this organization under Governor Murphy is doing groundbreaking things. And certainly that's the case in clean energy and one thinks about all the really groundbreaking things we're doing in offshore wind, offshore transmission, things that no one has ever done before. The regulatory side of this agency usually doesn't get too much attention. It's not too sexy, doesn't get much press attention. But I think it's important to emphasize that with this case, we really are doing some groundbreaking things on the regulatory side. As the President pointed out, no private equity firm has ever taken over a public utility in New Jersey before. When I first heard the news of this transaction, I must say I had some great concerns, because we've all read about similar transactions that have involved other organizations that affect the public interest. One thinks about the private acquisition of local news media and of some hospitals. And these organizations have really been squeezed, resources extracted, and the public interest has suffered. So I thought it was very important for us to make sure there were protections in place. And I must say that if one goes through the 30 some odd pages of the stipulation and our order, one has to be impressed with the meticulous effort that was undertaken by Ben Witherell and all the BPU staff that were involved. I mean, the protections for the ratepayer, the actual compensation of ratepayers that will occur as a result of this transaction, changes in governance, the protections of employees, the assurance that our clean energy policies will continue. The reporting is really critical. I mean, this organization up to now, this utility has been a publicly traded organization that files reports on a quarterly basis with the Securities and Exchange Commission. And when these organizations like this are privatized, they don't have to issue reports like that. So normally one wouldn't know what the numbers are like. We, to the credit of our staff, made sure that those reports are going to continue, albeit with protections for confidentiality, but we're going to know what the finances are like. We're going to know about the operations and the work that's being achieved, and we're going to be able to assure our ratepayers that they're going to continue to get the services they've become accustomed to. And so I just really want to take this opportunity to thank Ben and everyone on the BPU staff who played a role in this. You really have broken some new ground here, so thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I also want to thank you, and that 30 pages was, it's just great reading, actually. So, thank you to all the staff and all the provisions that were put in there for the ratepayers. I think being the only ratepayer on the board that's impacted by this merger, I certainly will keep everyone abreast of the, service quality, but all kidding aside, great job, and look forward to this new relationship, and the operation of it by staff will take some additional work as well, but I'm sure that they're up to it. So thanks.
If I could just briefly, first of all, thank you, Mr. President. And as you quite aptly pointed out, we at the board have not given up our responsibility to oversee this. We will be looking closely as time goes on, as will Wall Street and the investment community. So I think this very precedent-setting decision that we're coming to will set the tone going forward. And I think once again, New Jersey will really lead the way in so many different ways to change the industry. Dr. Ben Witherell, I know that through not just those 30 pages, but the hundreds of pages that were distilled down to the 30 that we saw. We congratulate you really, And everyone on your staff did a terrific job to guarantee that the ratepayers, stakeholders, employees of this new organization will be considered, and going forward, there'll be great beneficial impacts to the community and to the stakeholders. So you did a great job. We're very much looking forward to this, and I think New Jersey, once again, will show the way forward across the country. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Krista DeLu,
Yes.
President Fidelisa.
Yes. Thank you, Ben. And again, well done.
Thank you very much, and really it's because of the great staff. I'm sitting here in this chair right now, but it's because of our great staff that I get to work with every day that we were able to bring this through and bring it through, I would say, very quickly.
Right.
Thank you.
There's nothing under cable television for consideration or telecommunications. That brings us to water, and we're going to see Mike again.
Mr. President, excuse me, before we leave energy, I want to draw the board's attention, once again, with Mike in the hot seat, to items 2C, 2D, and 2E that the board voted on just prior to the SJI merger. That would be with regard to the RICO 2022 ZEC reconciliation, the ACE ZEC reconciliation, and the PS ZEC reconciliation. The board voted affirmatively on staff's recommendation to approve the tariff and rate changes proposed by ACE, PSE&G, and RICO, and to direct the companies to file revised tariffs prior to the end of this month for service rendered on or after February 1st. Also in staff's recommendation were some denials, and that we should put on the record just to be clear. So staff also recommends that the board deny the requests of ACE and PSE&G to file revised rates via compliance filings. That was part and parcel of staff's recommendation that was not mentioned earlier, as well as the recommendation of staff to deny RICO's proposal to monitor the ZEC excess collection balance as it approaches zero, and to file with the board no later than 30 days prior to making changes effective to set the RECCR to zero and to include excess balance in a remaining, any excess balance remaining in the next filing. Rather, it is staff's recommendation that the board direct RICO to collaborate with the other EDCs, staff, and rate counsel to consider its proposal in the next ZEC recovery charge filing. Is that accurate, sir?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Thank you. I just wanted to make that clear because staff's recommendation was not a blanket approval of the filings, and I will leave it to Mr. President if you believe there should be any further conversation between the commissioners or consideration of that
Well,
recommendation.
what I was going to ask you, do we have to re-vote on those three?
Just on, I would do it as belt and suspenders.
Yeah.
So I would recommend that we do vote again, now hearing all of staff's recommendation.
I don't wear suspenders.
But those recommendations, those denials are part of the board order.
They are,
Which we
they
voted on.
certainly will be part of the board order, and that's why I wanted to clarify the record. So if we could take, if there's any further discussion, we can certainly have that. If there are any further questions, we can certainly answer those as staff. But without any further discussion, a recommendation will be to take a vote on staff's total recommendations on those items 2C, 2D, and 2E as clarified.
All right, individually or collectively?
Individually, please.
Okay, item C.
Mary Ann,
Well, first we
I'm gonna
need to make a motion
Yes.
to amend the staff's recommendation to include what council has advised in the case of 2C, which is RICO.
Right.
That's my motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that? Any comments on that? Roll call.
On staff's amended presentation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou,
Yes.
President Ferdelisa.
Yes.
I move the amendment of the approval of the, or Atlantic City Electric to include the denials as was outlined by council.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On staff's amended presentation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou,
Yes.
President Ferdelisa.
Yes.
And I further move the recommendation to amend the public service electric and gas companies zero emission credit recovery charge as to the denials that were mentioned by council.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On staff's amended presentation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou,
Yes.
President Ferdelisa.
Yes. Now that, thank you, council.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Now, Michael, you're up.
On November 9th, 2022, Montague Water Company and Montague Sewer Company, together with Corex Infrastructure US Inc. and SW Merger Acquisition Corp., filed a petition requesting that the board approve the proposed merger of SW Merger Acquisition Corp. and Corex US. Corex US indirectly owns 100% of the Montague companies. Staff recommends that the board retain jurisdiction over this matter and designate a presiding commissioner. Staff further recommends that the board set a bar date of February 25th, 2023 for motions to intervene or for motions for Mapiche. And it's my understanding that Commissioner Holden is once again going to be leading us in a merger.
You're becoming an expert at mergers, are you?
going to leave for Goldman Sachs.
Yeah.
Been there, done that. I will move it. Gonna be typecast here.
Second.
Questions, comments? Other than the fact we don't want Holden to be the presiding officer. No. Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou,
Yes.
President Ferdelisa.
Yes. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Any denials on that, Michael? Reliability and security, Frank. Regarding some violations here.
Yes, sir. Morning, Mr. President and Commissioners.
Morning, Frank.
On May 26, 2021, Bureau of Pipeline Safety staff conducted a construction inspection of a PSE&G crew installing a plastic main in Morris Plains. It was determined that the crew was not following the company's installation procedures and not following pipeline safety regulations concerning inspection of materials, repair of plastic pipe, minimum cover over natural gas pipelines, installation of pipe in a trench, and calibration of equipment utilized in construction. This resulted in an investigation that led to the discovery that PSE&G was not properly qualifying its own personnel to fuse plastic pipe using hydraulic butt fusion and electrofusion techniques. Staff issued a notice of probable violation, NPV, to PSE&G alleging violations of the pipeline safety regulations on January 14, 2022. In response, PSE&G began to requalify all of its personnel for hydraulic fusion and electric fusion. On December 6, 2022, staff sent a revised NPV with the requirement to include a sampling program in addition to the original proposed settlement. On December 22, 2022, PSE&G accepted the updated NPV, which included the following: pay a fine of $318,250, revise their procedures for fusion qualification processes and backfill requirements, requalify all personnel before continuing to perform fusions, create a joint sampling program to verify the integrity of previously made joints, and provide staff with regular reports on these results. Staff is recommending that the board approve the settlement.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments?
Question.
Yes.
Just a point of clarification. Presumably, Public Service is going to be incurring some expenses in addition to the funds that are going to be allocated to the fine. Are there measures in place to prevent those expenses from becoming part of the rate base and being passed on to ratepayers?
In a settlement, any future recoveries on that would have to come before the board for approval on that.
Okay. Thank you.
And normally, violations are not put into the rate base.
Yeah, just wanted to clarify.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, this highlights the, need for not oversight just over the financial aspects of a company, but also the actual workmanship and work that's done by our reliability division. Certainly from a safety standpoint, this is a concern, the fact that, fusions aren't being properly done, the accidents that could result as from such encounters. And in terms of how many, do we have any idea of how many employees were needed to be recertified and, have, gone through those processes as yet?
Yes, they have requalified 892 employees, and the total number of employees underwent the requalification for hydraulic fusion was 106. So several hundred employees have been requalified.
Right. So, this is, certainly concerning. I'm sure that, it will be addressed through the retraining, but it just highlights the need to make sure that, moving forward, that we remain vigilant and continue to make these inspections and evaluate the performance going forward. Yeah.
Yes.
And also, first of all, congratulations to you and your staff for actually spotting this and not just driving by. So that's something we all take comfort in, so thank you very much. The training of PSE&G staff is very important, and you're on top of that, but also, as we know, they're going to be outsourcing this to a lot of subcontractors over time. So I would just encourage to make sure that not just PSE staff, but also their subcontractors are also trained in the procedures to maintain security.
We'll do so.
Yes.
As we're talking about, training of staff and, workforce development moving forward with regards to all types of energy infrastructure, it highlights the need to have a trained workforce regardless of whether they're putting up a wind turbine, putting a pipe in the ground for water or gas, or a solar panel. And these are areas we as a board need to continue to have vigilance and review, especially with these new technologies coming forward. There's a lot more experience with regards to putting pipe in the ground than there is to putting solar panels at a roof or turbines out in the ocean. So, it's going to be important for us to make sure that we have a workforce and, regulations and requirements that meet the safety needs. So.
And this is the reason we have a division like reliability and security. We're on top of these types of situations. And it's vitally important to obviously continue that. They have done a tremendous job. I want to point out Juan and his team for a good job. Well done. And I feel safer knowing that you folks are out there ensuring the fact that our utilities are obeying the rules and regulations and are doing things correctly. And so, division-wide, job well done. Thank you. If there are no other questions or comments, thank you, Frank. Oh, we didn't vote. Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. Now do I have to say thank you, Frank, again? Okay, there are no items under customer assistance for consideration. That brings us to clean energy. And the next three items, A, B, and C, were discussed in executive session. And as I indicated at the beginning, these items would be voted on here in the regular meeting. So Andrea, I think you start off.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good morning, Mr. President, Commissioners.
Good morning, Andrea.
The New Jersey Board of Public Utilities approved a waiver contract for the Brattle Group to assist in evaluating applications submitted under the state agreement approach. In September 2021, interested applicants submitted their proposals for the SAA, totaling 80 proposals from 13 entities. As a result of the significant response and need for additional evaluation beyond what had been previously anticipated, Brattle requested a budget increase to accommodate the increased work associated with evaluating those 80 proposals. In addition, Brattle's approved waivered contract permitted a one-year contract extension if determined to be, quote, in the best interest of the state. Staff continues to need extensive assistance in managing the board-awarded projects that relate to the SAA and believes utilizing the one-year extension to continue to utilize Brattle's expertise is in the best interest of the state. Staff recommends that the board approve an increase to the Brattle contract as discussed in executive session. Staff also recommends that the Brattle contract be extended for 1 year as discussed in executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. Mr. Ferris, I think you're next.
I am. Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. President and Commissioners, the United States Department of the Interior Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, or BOEM, is the lead federal agency that facilitates the responsible development of renewable energy or alternate use projects, including offshore wind projects, in federal waters on the outer continental shelf. BOEM recognizes the board as an agency that has special expertise with respect to renewable energy projects. BOEM would like to provide confidential information and documents to board staff for review and comment. In order for BOEM to be able to share confidential information and documents, BOEM and the board need to establish a cooperative agency relationship through the execution of a memorandum of understanding. I'll note that BOEM has cooperative agency relationships with other state agencies and with other states. Staff recommends that the board approve the MOU as discussed in executive session and authorize the president to execute it.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? I have to just make a comment or two. We have gotten to work with BOEM a lot, particularly you, Jim, and other clean energy folks. And it is an agency of the federal government that has been relatively cooperative in helping us through the process. I think it's important to note that, and tell me if I'm wrong, Jim, important to note that without BOEM, there'll never be a windmill out in the ocean. So it's an agency that is vital to achieving our goal, and we will continue to work with them until the mission is accomplished.
Completely agree with your remarks.
Thank you. Let's do a roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou?
Yes.
President Ferlisa?
Yes. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Ms. Lewis? You have 8C, which was also discussed in executive session, and this is the last item that was discussed in executive session. So, tell us.
Good morning. This matter was discussed in executive session, as you mentioned. It concerns an extension to the contract to administer the Charge Up New Jersey program. Staff seeks approval to extend the contract with the Center for Sustainable Energy, CSE, for the administration of the Charge Up New Jersey for a period of 1 year until January 2024. Staff is also seeking to expand the scope of work to include data aggregation of all charging data obtained from the chargers funded by the utility, state, or federal incentives. The contract modification also expands the Charge Up website to provide a portal detailing all the state-related EV incentives to provide one-stop shopping for all New Jersey residents and businesses interested in vehicle electrification. Staff recommends approval.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou?
Yes.
President Ferlisa?
Yes. Thank you, Kathleen. Oh, no, you have the next
I'm
one.
next.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay, you can thank me anyway. You're welcome.
Okay. I'll even thank you a second time.
Yeah. On November 23rd, 2020, Rockland Electric Company, or RICO, filed the petition with the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities seeking approval of its EV program. On January 27, 2021, the board determined that the RICO EV petition should be retained by the board for hearing, and the president designated Commissioner Robert Gordon as the presiding officer. On October 12, 2022, the board approved a stipulation of approximately $7.6 million. Included in that stipulation was a requirement that RICO file a residential managed charging program by December 31st, 2022. On December 20th, 2022, RICO filed a petition with the board seeking approval for a residential managed charging program. We recommend that the board retain this matter for hearing at the board and that the president designate a presiding officer. We further recommend that the board set a bar date of March 1st, 2023 for the filing of motions to intervene and participate for the admission pro hoc vice.
I thought, Bob,
Second.
Sorry?
You the commissioner?
Yes, I'm happy to do that.
yeah.
Okay. I'll move it.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou?
Yes.
President Ferlisa?
Yes. Thank you, Bob.
No.
Thank you, Kathleen.
You're welcome. Thank you.
That was the second thank you, just for the record. Diane, you're up.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
This item relates to a subsection T application from CEP Renewables to have its Fowl Rift Solar Farm project certified as being located on a brownfield pursuant to subsection T of the Solar Act of 2012. The applicant's proposed 24.183 megawatt project is to be located on 55.89 acres at the Nature's Choice Corporation site in White Township, Warren County, New Jersey. Staff reviewed the application and supplied a copy to the NJDEP for their review. We subsequently received an advisory memo on the application where the DEP determined that the proposed site is a brownfield as defined by the Solar Act and in accordance with their three-pronged determination. the NJDEP also provided specific conditions and requirements for permits and approvals from the DEP that the project must satisfy. Based on the review of the application and the advisory memorandum provided by the DEP, staff makes the following 3 recommendations to the board. That the board first grant conditional certification for the Fowl Rift Solar Farm project as proposed for the Nature's Choice Corporation site on property defined as a brownfield consistent with the Solar Act of 2012. That the board finds the conditions for certification provided by the NJDEP be fully documented as satisfied by the applicant prior to staff's issuance of full certification. And finally, that the applicant must file its TREC registration within 14 days of the date of the board's actions.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments from Diane?
Just one comment.
Sure.
Yeah, I think they should change the name though, from Fowl Rift to something like that. Just a recommendation.
Could we just say, so I think.
No harm, no foul.
No, there you go. I set you up again.
You're probably right, they should change the name. Any other questions or comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou?
Yes.
President Ferlisa?
Yes. Diane, thank you.
Thank you very much.
And that brings us to you, Jackie.
How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioner. Good morning.
What do you have for us?
A rulemaking.
Ooh,
Shocking. You're typecast too now.
I know. This matter is in the matter of the proposed readoption with amendments to NJAC 14:1 Rules of Practice. These rules govern practice and procedure before the board, which includes all pleadings, petitions, and filings, fees and charges, and appearances and motion practice in both contested and uncontested cases. The rules also cover confidentiality issues that arise pursuant to the Open Public Records Act. The rule proposal was published in the New Jersey Register on August 15, 2022, and will expire on February 15, 2023. NJAC 14:1 is necessary and appropriate, and that the rules will help ensure that New Jersey utility customers will receive safe, adequate, and proper service at reasonable rates. The board received comments from the stakeholder community through October 14, 2022, and responded to each of the comments. The notice of adoption document contains a summary of all comments and staff's responses. The governor's office has reviewed and approved the proposed readoption. Staff recommends that the board approve the final readoption of this chapter with 2 non-substantial changes to the original proposal, with the rules becoming effective upon publication in the New Jersey Register.
question,
So moved.
Second.
questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou?
Yes.
President Ferlisa?
Yes. Thank you, Jackie.
You're welcome.
There are no other items on our agenda. Therefore, we're going to close the meeting unless anyone has any closing remarks they would like to make. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.